we came home from church. We walk in the door and there's a literal waterfall of melting snow water coming down into the living room. And I remember looking at that and just being like, we're going to have to just tear down this whole house.
Burn it.
Like, how do you even come back from this? It's a waterfall.
This is the Good Influencer podcast with Julia Marcum and Becca McLeod, pulling back the curtain of how this multi-billion-dollar industry works. If you're going to be an influencer, be a good one.
Welcome to a very special...
It's been a minute. It's been a minute since we've done a podcast together.
I know. And here we are again. It's been 10 years. We had a podcast together with our friend 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I was mostly there for laughs. I wanted to be entertained, and I was.
You were the substance and kind of guiding Preston and I to like stay on topic.
Yeah.
Because we would get tangential.
Yes. So, surprise, same role today. Yep. I'm going to keep us on topic.
We were walking down the hall and I said, spoiler alert, haven't looked at the questions. I read the first one and the rest just shooting from the hip.
I know. Well, that's what we do. So we got a lot of questions from you about just things that you've been curious about, especially as it pertains to us doing this as our full-time job, sharing our home and our lives and our family on the internet for the last 16 years. So, one of the questions, first question, do you ever regret putting certain parts of your home or lives on the internet?
Heavy hitter. Let's just get started. Just jump into it. Do I ever regret it? Sure. Like ever? Yeah, I think... that's human nature, though. You never feel one thing all the time. So some points of it are heavier than others. And there's those moments that you're just like, oh, screw this. I'm done with it. I wish we'd never done it. But those moments are short-lived by everything else cool that has happened because of it and the experiences that you get, but also just being able to grow something and see it grow as a result of the efforts that you're putting in. It's really cool.
I'm definitely someone that I get vulnerability hangovers. Like sometimes I feel like I'm going to share this. And I think that we do have definitely boundaries with things that we share and things that we don't share.
Sure. We've had to define those over the years.
Yeah.
Because we started off, it was just like everything.
Sure.
Yeah.
And now, I think you learn I wasn't able to take negative feedback as well from sharing this. Therefore, I don't
outside opinions on
I
this
don't
topic.
want outside opinions on this topic. And it's usually the things that, are either sacred, special, or maybe you don't feel as confident with. Mm-hmm. And those things are harder to take negativity on. And therefore we're like, well, what if we just didn't share that? I don't get it when people say no regrets. I don't understand when people say no regrets.
Yeah. I feel like I have regrets in life in general, things that I'm like, oh, I wish I didn't do that. But I also don't wish I could go back and do anything different.
True.
I would be terrified that the butterfly effect. I would change one thing that then ends up changing everything. I'm really happy with where my life is.
Maybe that's what people mean.
It.
But I'm because I agree with that. I don't want to change anything, even though we've had some tough times with sharing content online and some really hard moments, which maybe we'll get to. But I think it's good to reflect on how something made you feel or was received and say, ooh, we shouldn't have done that. That is, by definition, regret.
Right.
And then change it going forward.
So I'm not going to do that thing.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, let's see. What's one thing followers would be shocked to know about how your content gets made?
Shocked.
Shocking.
I
think that I mean, our content, I've seen other content being made. It's a very like, let's just do it.
Mm-hmm. I think that, I think there is this view, I think, of influencers where it's very curated and very planned. And even though as business owners, there is that, we have to plan and we have to curate and make sure that it matches the brand and kind of what our goals are for the company. I think people would be shocked how much there is of just winging it and doing things last minute and just saying, let's just try this and throw it out there.
Yeah.
I think that it probably comes across much more calculated than it is.
I hope
Maybe
not.
That's good. Yeah,
I hope not. Like, I want it to come across. I think like I am definitely like a one take person. Like, I am not going to do another, like, I am like, I don't want to practice saying it out loud. I don't want any, like, we think about it, we plan it, we brainstorm it. And I'm like, I'm just going to do it. Just turn on the camera. I'm just going to do it because I want it to be like so authentic.
And you have the practice to where you can do that. Like anytime the team hands me something, it's like, all right, Chris, we need you to record this 30-second voiceover. We've blocked out 2 hours for you to do this. It's like, okay, let's try that again. Let's try that again. Oh, I'm saying too many times. I said like too many times.
Chris will cut himself and be like, okay, take 2.
Yeah.
Like,
say,
no, we're doing that again. We're doing that again. We're like, no, that was good. Nope. Doing it again. Yeah. I was not ready. It's so cute. But like, he's like the only one being like, I want to do it again.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think like brands generally think that it takes longer for us to do something than it does. Many times, I mean, not to toot our own horn, but many times when brands do come to shoot in our house,
it's like they're booking 2 days and we're done by noon on the first day. And
they're like, okay, that was much faster than we thought it was going to be. And
it's usually because they don't give me very many lines, which I appreciate.
Okay, which project nearly broke you emotionally or financially?
They say the most recent memory is the one that stings the most. So I would say for you, our primary one that we are still kind of finishing.
I don't think that one almost broke me.
Actually, no. Yeah. Idaho
house.
Our second Idaho house was the one that I think did break us a little bit.
It did break us.
Like, let's just move.
It broke us definitely emotionally. Also, when we moved, there was a big financial loss when our movers basically, what is that called?
It's moving fraud. It was a huge debacle.
But they like forced us to pay them more and more money.
They gave us one amount, loaded all of our stuff up, took it away, and then more than tripled
extortion.
Yeah, that's the term.
That was difficult, but also, so we had this grand idea. This is what almost broke us. It broke me anyway. We had this grand idea. We bought this house in Idaho Falls in 2019. Mm-hmm. And we had just come off of renovating for 7 years, our home that we lived in. We moved. We moved because we now had 3 kids and the house, we needed a bigger house.
And we wanted more yard.
We had like a quarter of an acre. I think it was even.
Yeah. And it was very fragmented and it wasn't much. Yeah.
So we wanted a bigger yard. So we found this house about 30 minutes away, had a bigger yard, bigger house, and it needed a ton of work. And we had just been renovating for 7 years. Our girls were, young-ish. And we were like, I don't want to just live in renovation for the next 7 years. what if we just took the next 2 years and just knocked it all out
Mm-hmm.
while living in
Ambitious.
it?
Ambitious. Yeah.
It was such a tough time.
I still remember, for me, emotionally, one of the toughest days was, I mean, there had been a bunch of setbacks. Like that week, there were finally some people who had showed up and worked on some stuff. And I was like, okay, maybe we're headed there. It snowed. And then we came home from church. We walk in the door and there's a literal waterfall of melting snow water
Yes.
coming down into the living room. And I remember looking at that and just being like, we're going to have to just tear
Burn it.
down this whole house.
Burn it.
Like, how do you even come back from this? It's a waterfall. It was
Our living
streaming
room.
down in the living room. And I was just shaking my head. I was like, what is going on? So I had to go up on the roof and I had to dig out all of the melting snow and push it away. I'm like in my church clothes still, just getting sweaty and dirty. And I was like so close to just crying. I was like, okay, this is rough.
We cried a lot in that house. And also my health took a major toll on just, I think it was everything that happened there.
Mm-hmm.
My health just tanked.
I think for me, the hard part about Idaho Falls was seeing the impact that it had on you. But for me, it was that it was off the back of the cabin fire.
Yeah.
Which that was just like a dark time.
And you
it felt like one thing after another. We had just finished. We were so close to finishing the cabin.
Mm-hmm.
And then the entire thing burned to the ground. And then with
I shouldn't have just said burn it to our house because
that's insensitive.
that's really insensitive to the house after our cabin just burned.
I was just, that one threw me for a loop because I grew up.
Would you
going
say
into the
that?
mountains.
No.
That for me was the one that broke me.
Yeah.
And then coming off of that, and then just one thing after another, and then seeing that next house, which I'm the one who pushed us to go into the Idaho Falls house. We were looking at a few, and I was the one like, no, this one, we've got to do this one. We could do so many cool things with it. And you were like, yeah, we can. And then it ended up just being this really heavy 2 years.
Yeah.
That actually probably led us here. So I still say like regrets, but I wouldn't go back and change it.
Right. And I loved what we did with that house. Like, I loved what we did. I feel like I really was able to hone my design skills. I think we were like in a better place financially where we were able to try like new things. And thank goodness we like had the money that to do those things.
Yeah. And it allowed us to kind of shift. That was when we shift from DIY to renovation.
Yeah.
Like where our projects were just so big that it just made more sense to have other people do it.
I would say the cabin burning down was like the first time where I was like, I don't think that I can do this as far as like sharing things online.
Yeah.
It was kind of the first time where it was so difficult, and it's kind of hard like not to tear up when your house just burned down, even though it was like a second home. Like you always have to put a disclaimer on everything because it was like I was sobbing to the point of throwing up.
Yeah.
Like I could not comprehend what was happening. We were just there 12 hours earlier. And then to like receive like DMs being like, you're inauthentic, or like, this is icky, like, because I was like crying, or like, you're faking it, or like.
Well, there was the video. So we had Jordan, our videographer at the time.
Who's also our nephew. He was also living with us.
Yeah, he's also living with us. So the fire happened, and I just went and sat on the couch, and you were in talking to your parents and talking, like letting everybody know, like you were in just mourning in the other room. And Jordan came in and he was just there with us throughout the day filming. And I was not paying any attention to him.
No.
He was not even on my mind, but he just captured it all and made this video that I actually cherish.
Yeah, totally.
I go back and watch that video several times a year about the cabin and the memories there. And then like he made this beautiful tribute to it on his own there was no direction. We weren't like, oh, hey, we're going to walk up here holding each other. Can you just like get a shot?
It's like the last thing you think about.
Yeah. But then when it posted, it was like all of a sudden you could tell like that was the perception that people had of it, was that it was this calculated, like, oh, they're just doing this for show. And I think that was also rough, was like, oh, yeah, I felt the same thing. Like, how do you share? Like people want you to share authentically. And then when a moment like this is captured so authentically and shared and there's still uproar about it, there are those moments that you're like, okay, well, throw my hands up. What do I do then?
Right.
Yeah.
I think I think that did help us just define like what's sacred, what's, just for us. And also, like I said, I don't regret. I'm so grateful that we have those memories and everything that we did there. Another question or another kind of claim that we get from our audience a lot is like, do you ever feel pressure to just keep renovating for content? Which is so funny because Chris knows this more than anyone. Like the ideas are flowing and I never, we're like not like re-renovating rooms.
Yeah, not to a big degree. Like we have a staged approach where you do it in stages.
Staged approach could have been taken a different way.
I'll say phased approach. We have a phased approach. We take it in phases where you go in, you address immediate needs, eyesores.
Immediate eyesores, especially in large living spaces.
Yeah, will be paint, furniture, rugs, furnishings like that. Maybe wallpapers, just some easy stuff that you get up. And then we'll come in later once the ideas are fully fleshed out, once we know how we live in the space, and we will fully do it. So like our living room, we just actually renovated it. And there are people who are saying, why did you redo this room from how you did it before? Well, we didn't do it before. Like we had never renovated it before. We just painted it because the color before was not our color.
Do you ever, I don't feel pressure to keep renovating for content.
No, I think there was a time that we felt pressure to do projects constantly.
Sure.
I think it was off of Idaho Falls where we had projects constantly and we got here and there was like what's our project? And I think we have since realized like that's really not necessary. We don't need to force that. There's plenty to do. There's plenty coming.
There's plenty of time.
And there's other stuff to talk about besides renovation, which I think has been a nice introduction over the past few years. Because when there's just something about the internet that when you talk about a certain something, people put you in that box. But it turns out like renovating is probably 5% of who we are.
Totally.
Like our lives are so much
larger.
So much larger than that and who we are as people. And so it's nice that we've been able to give little looks into that without veering too far from our niche because, people do expect renovation content from us. But sometimes we have to remind people like, this actually is a small part of who we are.
Yeah. And I think that kind of ties in nicely to how we went from, hey, we want to renovate a whole house in 2 years so that we're not constantly living in renovation to getting another house. And now it's been 4 years of renovation because I think we realized like, hey, this doesn't have to be our whole life.
Yeah.
Like we can have lives outside of this. And, there are blocks of chaos But I think
just coming down from one.
we're coming down from one, but also like we're really mindful of how that affects our kids. Like our kids have never really been displaced from their environment for long periods of time. Before we moved in, we did like the kitchen. And I think not having a living room recently, but like there was a room upstairs.
Right.
And so I think that like we have no plans to finish this house and move. Now people ask like, what are you going to do when you do finish this house? I'm just someone that our home is always going to evolve. And I love our house now. I have no plans on moving. We do hope to get a lake house. That's actually not for content. That is something that we want, has always been a goal of ours. But of course, we will renovate that too.
Yeah.
Whenever we get it. So
there will be projects that we do. We've been looking. I actually was going through our text messages. I was looking for a link, and you can go through and tap on show me all the links in our thread.
Yeah.
And scrolling through, and we've been sending each other lake houses for 2 years and beach houses and things like that. And it was funny to see the transition from beach house to lake house. It was, they were like peppered together for a little bit, and then it's just like all lake house since last year.
We're lake people. Okay, what's the hardest part about working together as a couple? And what's the best part?
I think I'll start with the best part, which is the best part is just knowing that you're on the same team with the person. Jules and I talk about everything, very open communication. Sometimes it shocks people how open our communication is. But we have learned over years that, not to take offense for having different ideas, because it's not like I think that she's dumb for what she wants, or she thinks that I'm dumb, because I have a different aesthetic. Like, we're trying to get to the same place. And so getting through that conversation, that's been my favorite part of doing this together, is that we have really learned to just speak our minds and not be offensive or combative about it, but also not be defensive.
You want to say your hardest part?
Sure. Hardest part, I would say, is similar. Like, I would say the hardest part is shutting it off. Conversations, like, it's very easy when you go out to dinner on date night to talk business. And, you have to purposefully say, let's talk about something else. Like, you have to purposely set aside time to do other things. And even when we want to do, like, our garage, for example, we want to clean out our garage as like a family project. And there is this, like, do we need to, like, try and capture it? Can we just do it? It's like finding the balance of real life and when you capture things and share things, when to stop the business and start just being a couple.
I think the hardest part for me about working together as a couple is honestly, like, I think we do have different work ethics. And I think that's also a positive thing. Like, when Chris is saying, like, it's hard to turn off, that's me.
I think it's me too, but
it is, I think it weighs on me pretty heavily. Just, and I think that's also, like, the best part is that I'm not alone. Like, this isn't just me and, 10 employees. It's like me and Chris. Like, if he had a different job, I couldn't do this.
Yeah.
I couldn't, I'm not good at running a company. Chris is so, like, calm and he so like has all the financials and all the that side of it, like just so organized. So anytime I do start like worrying, he's like, hey, let me just show you some things.
Yeah, let me show you the reports.
Let me show you the reports.
The arrows are going up. That's
we're okay. And I'm like, okay. So but like I think our relationship dynamic has changed as our platform's grown, because it used to be very, and it's kind of like part of me like wants to get back to the way that things, like I liked doing things together. I liked appearing in our content together more. And I think every time we do, our audience just loves that. But it's funny because as our platform has grown, as our team has grown, as our workload has grown,
as the company has diversified,
it's like we actually are both working on separate things all day. So we are not next. I mean, we see each other in the morning, we see each other after work, and we're both working, doing completely different things and really not even in the same place most of the time.
Yeah, and the time for doing that stuff has become less and less. But we are trying to get the company to a place where we can have that time a little bit more. I would say one thing, the way that it used to be, it's funny with the business, when it was just you and me starting, I used to use the phrase executive decision so many times, and you loved it. And I don't do that anymore at all because I'm not the executive. It's not my place. I recognize, like, especially when it's like content ideas or scheduling. We have 10 people, and I'm actually not in the office very much. I work from home. My schedule, the stuff that I do is flexible. And so some days I have a little bit more time, and then I work at night after you fall asleep. But this, like, me coming in and just deciding the man has spoken, like, that is not a thing.
No, that's not. Also, you used executive decision early on in all the fun ways. When it was just me and you, and I had been working on something for, like, let's say 9 hours and it went wrong and I have to restart. You would come in, you would say, executive decision. We're going to go to bed now. You need rest. And I'm going to hire someone to finish this tomorrow. Like, that's a good executive decision.
Sure. Yeah, no, it was always well-meaning. It was not like executive decision. No. You will rub my feet.
No. It was always like, you were seeing the situation. Now you can't say that because
I'm not in the office. I don't see the situation.
You don't. Yeah, you're not really in the situation. And usually if I'm working on something like for a while, it's because there's a deadline coming up that I didn't set for myself.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, call our partners and let them know your executive decision. Let's see how that goes over. Okay, that's I used to love that. Let's bring it back for like date nights.
Okay.
You're like, executive decision, we are going to SAP. I would love that.
Which I texted you and said that. We have dinner coming up with some friends. I was like, I booked SAP.
I mean, those are the kinds of executive decisions I love.
Yeah.
What are we eating?
I used to like
tell me. Tell me.
I used to be like, what do you want for dinner every night? And in my mind, I'm like being accommodating. And then you had to tell me, you're like, I don't care. I can't make another decision throughout the day. Mm-hmm. And I was like, great. And I don't think I've asked you since.
And every night it hits.
Well,
like that was such a great also example of just how we communicate. Like, you think that you're doing something that I want to be a part of, when in reality, I'm like, I trust you fully. Like,
to make dinner.
Well, I mean,
that's my thing.
In other ways too, but like, it's just like, I don't need to make that choice. And there are some things that like, I know you don't need to be involved in a decision.
Right.
And then there's things that we both need to be involved in. What's one thing about when did you first realize being influencers could actually support your family? Man.
2016.
But looking back, completely delusional, but we did it and it worked out.
Yeah.
As things do.
Yeah.
We had, at the time, Chris was working full time. I was in charge of the finances.
Yeah.
And I was making the same amount that he was making with your salary.
Yes. And you had been for a couple months.
Months. Okay, get that in your brain. Months.
Before that, it was in the hundreds of dollars a month.
And then all of a sudden I was like, wait, I think I am making the same as you now as of last month.
Yeah.
And immediately we were like, what if you just quit your job?
I wonder. And I've told this story before. It was actually, so now I'm remembering the timeline. Our podcast, we were still doing it 2016. Because in 2016, that was when our friend asked us, so what is your goal with it? And you said, we don't really know. We don't really know what it even can be. And, we may never know. And that struck me as like, okay, like, yeah, what if we just tried? What if we just tried to see what it can be? And there was about 2 months that we went back and forth, and then I gave my notice, a 2-month notice for my employers, and we never went back. And like our first month, we made more than double my salary.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the next 3 years, our annual revenue doubled each year, which was wild to see. And it's fun to have a team now and to have so many things that we're doing.
And when you're just both like focusing on the same goals, like you're both in it. And before you like left your marketing job, your main focus was obviously there.
Mm-hmm.
And my main focus was here. And so we were really splitting hairs when it came to like our efforts.
I would say there was some friction there too, like where we were having to decide, like, we can't keep doing it like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this isn't working for our family. I was working all day and then coming home, and Julia finally had help to do projects, and I'm exhausted. I don't want to be doing that, but she's finally in a place where she can make some progress, but does need my help. And so there was that friction. And I think that was also something that pushed, like, okay, so what is the direction that we want to go? I had these, so in my marketing job, I mean, it was like, as far as the corporate ladder, it was like me and then the owners of the company. Like I wasn't going higher there. So at that company, I was in a really great spot. I had a great career trajectory, but there was a ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
The ceiling was, I work for other people. I'm doing their decisions. I'm just taking care of their decisions. And, there was this idea that's what you're supposed to do. Back then, especially, like, you climb the corporate ladder,
right?
And that's a great thing to do. And
also, I remember you specifically, we used to guest speak at the university in our town, and we would go in, and Chris would always say, like, my goal is like not to be an influencer.
Yeah.
Which is actually, that kind of like stung every time you said that, because like my heart sank, because I was like, I guess like we'll never do that together.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of amazing because you leaving your job didn't mean that now you're a full-time influencer.
Right. I would say my goal is still not to be
right. Like,
an influencer.
That's not something that interests you, but you were able to come in and help me like build up this business that we do together, and there is a creative side of it and, you know, a more on camera side of it that I head up.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you don't have to be a full-time influencer to still like be a very large part of this business, because I couldn't do all of that.
The thing that I say with my job description is my job is to make sure everybody else here can do their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So I deal with the taxes, the finances, the HR, the benefits, like all of these
Mm-hmm.
little minutia things, you know, licensing and
Yeah.
trademarks, blah, blah, blah. Like
Yeah.
I deal with all of that.
Lawyers.
So that other people can really just focus on creating and doing that. I wouldn't say it's a passion of mine, but I am passionate about seeing what comes of it.
Yeah. It's I can see that, like, you love kind of showing me that as
Mhm.
that side of it too.
Mhm.
So that's kind of like maybe the part where people like, oh, I want to be an influencer. I don't want to, you know, work for someone else. I want to like earn all this money. And maybe that's a little bit glamorized at times. But what's one thing about influencers or influencer life that people romanticize, but it's actually way harder?
I feel like it's the same one for both of us, which we've talked about, which is being known.
Yeah.
Being known, like recognize it, like cherish anonymity, honestly,
Mhm.
like to some degree. I would say we're probably the right amount where it's not like everywhere we go,
Right.
but it is enough that I just have to be real careful. Like, you know, don't like pull a wedgie out or anything like that while I'm out in the store. Like, don't pick your nose a little bit. Like, you have to just, somebody could be watching me right now.
Yeah. I think honestly, that has probably taken, it sounds like we are definitely not getting like
No, we're not. No.
like recognized to any like major extent. But I do think that privacy is currency.
Hmm.
And that is something that we don't have
Hmm.
anymore.
And that, I would say,
I
that,
think, and even not even in public, but even online, like our job is to show up.
Yeah.
And I think there are days where I don't feel well. There's days where I'm feeling bad about myself or like just down or anxious. And the job is to show up and mostly in a certain way.
yeah.
And I think that's probably pretty difficult. And in person, like I do get anxious going to the grocery store,
Hmm.
and people are always like, "Do you want to?" I want you to say hi, of course.
Yeah.
I love.
It's way better to say hi.
It's
than
way
just,
better to say hi than DM me later and being like, "I saw you at the grocery store," and I'm like, "What was I doing?
Yeah, what was I buying?
What was I
Like,
doing?" Because also sometimes, I like mouth things to myself.
yeah.
Like you kind of like talk out loud to yourself.
For sure I do.
But I am like someone that like I am like having conversations in my head. This sounds crazy, but like my mouth will be moving
Yeah.
as I'm just either maybe I'm
No,
mouthing the words to a song, or
I think
maybe I'm
that's super normal.
yeah.
Like, because I do it as well.
So yeah, say hi, but also that's a part of the job that's probably glamorized. I also think that this is my theory. I can't prove it yet, but this is my theory that there's basically two classes of influencers. There's the class of influencers that wants to be famous.
Yeah.
They want to be known. They want their name out there. And then there's the class of influencers that wants to make money. And we're actually more in this side. We don't care as much about being famous as we do about monetizing and really like setting up ourselves and, you know, our family members and our employees. Like we want to provide and save and have like that. And I don't really care if people don't know who I am as much.
And I think that has been interesting because everybody assumes that every influencer is in the first category, which is they just want to be popular.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even our daughter at times, I think that she gets this view, like she has teachers and friends who are now saying, oh, your parents, I saw their stuff. And, you know, for her, there's like this cool factor, I think, for it. But we have to like tell her, like, just so you know, Greta, the being known somewhat is the worst part of it. Like that's the part that is not great.
Mm-hmm.
Like to set some perspective, it allows you to, you know, maybe connect with people over a certain something that you're passionate about. That's really cool. But you can do that in all kinds of ways, and trying to help our children understand also that why we do what we do, that is an interesting, those are kind of interesting waters to navigate with kids who kind of see things at surface level just by default, and getting them to think deeper about, okay, why we're doing what we're doing. Because at surface level, yeah, it seems like an attention grab.
Right. And also there's nothing wrong with that. Like if people want to do this to become famous, there's so many opportunities that then come from being famous.
Sure.
Like being famous can lead to a lot of other opportunities, whether that is you want to have your own TV show or like, you know, financially, there's things that come from being famous. That's just never been our focus. It's always been like, okay, how can we make our house the star and people recognize our house, and maybe less so like my face.
Yeah. Jules is you're very much more understanding on that. For me, I think influencers who pursue it for the sake of fame, they'll find it pretty hollow. And I don't think that they'll do it for long term, because that hasn't been our focus. We have a why that's deeper than that. And I mean, we talk about it often in our team meetings. You know, there are questions that we ask to keep our focus on what's important. And
it's not money.
It's not money. No, it never has been. Like I told you, like the second this becomes about money, I'm out. When I quit my job, it was like, it's got to be about something different.
So what is it? I mean, you just keep like,
it's all, yeah, it's because it can be
it's
different.
printed on a poster in our office.
It can be different for everybody. But for me, I just want to be able to be a force for good in some way. Like to be a positive force on the internet.
Yeah. What's your biggest "we made it" moment in your career? I have incredible, it's not, what is that phrase? Imposter syndrome? I don't think it's imposter syndrome. It's very hard for me to see myself as anything other than just me. And so when people are like, how did you know you made it? And I'm like, I mean, when Chris quit his job in 2016, that felt like the biggest make it moment for me. I'm like, and we were making like $72,000 a year. And that felt great.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of other incredible moments over the last 10 years where, you know, product lines have come about, speaking engagements where I'm like sitting on a stage with, you know, Joanna Gaines, and I'm like, why am I here? I don't know. Like, I'm not a designer. Like, all these people are like major designers, and I didn't go to design school. And like, oh, our names, like now we have furniture and Pottery Barn, and like people are like, how do you feel? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I just feel like me. Like, I just feel like myself. And I've really struggled with being like, am I not celebrating enough? Am I broken in some way where like I don't feel different? Like, what am I supposed to feel like? But I think that I think just being able to work with you and work with other family members and just like really other talented people every day, it just feels like this is great.
I felt exactly the same. I've thought about that a lot, which is, what all of these big things that are happening because of how the company is now. The big thing that is announced to the public is the one that is finished.
Right.
And the ones that are being worked on are still all on our plate. And so there is like, whenever they happen, it's very easy to overlook it and just to see it as like a checkbox instead of like an accomplishment. But when we made the decision for me to come on full time, for me to quit my job, for me, it was like the first month seeing of me doing the finances and working with our sponsors and everything like that, and seeing, okay, we're fine. Like, we don't have to print vinyl mailbox letters, which was our fallback plan. We don't have to do that this month. And then the second month to see it go up even more. And by the end of that year to, have hit all of these just huge milestones, and to see that the trajectory was just up, that to me, I remember feeling like, wow, what an amazing decision. This is going so well. It just felt like this is it. And I think that the constant accomplishment has and growth at times, if you don't take time to appreciate them, it can feel like that is just the expectation. Like that's merely acceptable and not necessarily something to be celebrated.
Yeah. That's so true. Like, just taking time to celebrate. I also think like on a small scale, and like I used to, when we first got married, I used to have to like price match every single thing at the grocery store.
I remember, we would always,
and because like our budget was so tight and like so strict, like financially we were just like getting by, and so I had to like do all like get all these mailers.
Everything we ate was based on what was on sale. You would make a big list of everything that we had a coupon for, everything that was on sale, and then we would decide what we were going to eat that week.
Yeah. And so I remember when this was a few years ago now, but like when we were like, let's take our whole family to Mexico. That to me felt like a big we made it moment, because not only like, okay, I'm not like price matching groceries anymore, but like I want to do something really nice for our family, and like I want to pay for it. And I like picking up the check. I know you love picking up the check. And that to me like feels so good. And I feel like, okay, like that's kind of my biggest like we made it moments, when like I can pick up the check.
Yeah. Another one for me was this realization all of a sudden that I wasn't looking at prices in the grocery store.
Like, I mean, I think that was like such a big part of our early married life, was like there was money.
And it was a habit. It was a habit that we just carried for years, even after I quit my job, that it was,
because it was always like, what if this doesn't work out? Like we can't just, So that felt really, that's been a good feeling. Who takes criticism harder, and how do you handle it?
I think we both take it pretty hard, but in different ways. Because most of the criticism is directed at you, because you're the one on the screen.
Mhm.
Like you're the one that's out there, and you just get really bogged down. And
It comes in like
sad
waves, in
in
cycles. Like
waves.
I go from like laughing at it to like, well, I guess we'll see if they miss me when I'm gone. That's the cycle.
Yeah, that's a reference to quitting.
Yes, of
Yes,
course.
just to clarify.
I think that you
I get
get
mad.
more mad.
I get so mad. When
I get
see-
quiet.
yeah,
You get mad.
Yeah, when I see the things that people say to you who have no idea. I'm sorry, y'all. You have no idea. I try and like people will send messages to me even about stuff. And I just have to remind them, I'm like, I just want you to know, like, go and calculate, like, add up all of the stories that you saw. And how much time is that? 3 minutes of a 24-hour day? Like, you have some perspective that we are people just like anybody else. My wife is much more than what you see, and you have no idea the type of person that she is, what she does, what she spends her free time on, how much attention she gives her daughters, like all of this stuff. I get so you can see it right now.
I know.
Even
I'm
the
like,
question,
okay.
I'm like, why are you
one's
asking this
actually
question?
here right now saying any of that. But it is, you do get like really protective of me.
Yeah, because I know you.
Yes.
And they don't.
And that's the perspective that I, eventually when I do get bogged down with it, like come to realize, and I get back to that like lightheartedness.
Yeah.
Of like, hey, it is what it is. How do I handle it? Sometimes I block people. Sometimes I let other commenters handle it. Sometimes I step away for a weekend. Sometimes I laugh.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes I laugh because they think they're trolling me when really I have all the power. I'm like, yeah, I can block you at any time. I can like paint my room like the most hideous color and just to actually troll you if I wanted to. Like you do not know the pettiness that I can I can go. But I also know like over and over again, what kills them most is, I mean, as cliche as it is kindness.
Kindness, yeah.
And when I am like in a good place, when I'm not stressed, and when I can see I'm getting good rest, like it is so much easier for me to just like take the higher road. Yeah. And if I see myself not taking the higher road, I do realize, hey, something's like not okay for me.
My tank's low.
My tank is low. And I need to either step away, reset, go like make sure I'm getting enough sleep, take a walk outside. And like you wish that you could tell them that because clearly like their tank is low.
Mm-hmm.
Something is not adding up in their lives. They're feeling insecure about something or they had a rough day. And it's like,
We're just angry about stuff happening in general. Everywhere online, you will see negative stuff. And so I think going back to when I said our purpose is to be a positive force online, that's why.
Yeah.
Because we saw early on the internet just can get so nasty.
So polarizing.
And that can make it feel like, well, the internet is just a nasty place that represents the world. It does not. It does not at all. Like people who are at each other's throats, if you sat them down at a dinner table and played a game together or something, like they would be laughing together.
Right.
They would be asking about each other's families, about where they're from. They would be so interested. They would be learning about somebody else. But the format of the internet, it just, people start to compartmentalize others, or not compartmentalize, but put them into a box.
Yeah.
They limit them as a person, where they're either a bad person or a good person. And
I
that's
know
just not
many
how people are.
times, many times I've said, about people that, are mean in any way. I'm like, if they could come over for dinner, they wouldn't think that about me, because we just have the best dinner parties. And we have so much fun. And that's like, honestly, what we do in our real lives. Like,
Right.
You're not going to click with everyone, obviously.
Yeah.
But like, to get to know someone, like, have them in your home and open, we just love having people into our home.
And I think that's where it says, how do you handle it? That's how we handle it, is that
We go back to reality.
Yeah, that can't be the majority of your life.
Right.
Is hearing other people's uninformed negative opinions of you.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have real friends, you have real family, you spend real time with them in person, and that is what fills the tank.
Yeah. Thanks for coming.
Oh, this is so fun.
I want to do another podcast with Chris.
Someday. Let's set the timer, 9 years.
Okay, 9 years
then.
from now. Until next time, follow us on YouTube and Instagram at Good Influencer. And if you're ready to join a whole community of influencers growing organically and getting paid to do what they love, join the Good Influencer Mastermind by visiting our website, good-influencer.com. If you're going to be an influencer, be a good one.